They left their broken warship on Earth, believing it was worthless scrap, and humanity too primitive to understand it. Big mistake. Huge. And now, a hybrid vessel of alien tech and raw human ingenuity isn't just coming back for payback. It's coming for reckoning. The Kreks, those arrogant, multi-limbed jerks, called the Hulk Derelict 47 when they limped away. Can you imagine the gall? Half the hull was slag, a gaping wound in its side. The drive core bled toxic plasma into the vacuum of space, and the ship's AI had screamed itself mute from whatever horrors it had witnessed. They didn't even bother to properly dispose of it. No, they just parked the colossal carcass in low orbit like a forgotten toy in the attic of the solar system. Then, just to twist the knife, they beamed a final, dismissive insult. Let the monkeys play with their new toy. And with that, they jumped back home for repairs, probably laughing all the way. Earth's telescopes, those watchful eyes in the night, tracked the wreck for weeks. Every government, in their infinite wisdom, initially denied it even existed, hoping it would just go away. But the internet, always the first to break ranks, quickly filled with shaky phone clips and grainy satellite images. A 3-kilometer wound glowing an unnatural, sickly green against the backdrop of a million indifferent stars. The world leaders? Oh, they argued, all right. They bickered endlessly about quarantine zones, about potential salvage rights, about whether the monstrous thing would eventually fall out of the sky and flatten a continent. It never did. It just hung there, silently orbiting, a broken, shimmering middle finger from the cosmos, a constant, infuriating reminder of our supposed insignificance. It was more than just a wreck. It was an open wound in the sky, a challenge no one knew how to answer. Someone had to go up there. That someone was Captain Elena Ruiz, a legend who looked at impossible odds and saw a challenge. She took a jury-rigged shuttle, a contraption of human ingenuity and sheer audacity, matched the wreck's slow, agonizing tumble, and clamped on with a bone-jarring thud. The airlock seals hissed like a nest of angry snakes, a sound that would haunt her dreams. Inside, it was a ghost ship of truly terrifying proportions. Corridors were scorched black, walls rippled and warped from unimaginable heat and energy discharges. Every footstep, every metallic clang, echoed through vast, zero-G cathedral spaces. These weren't built for us, were they? They were clearly designed for beings at least 2 meters taller than any human, making Elena feel like a trespasser in a giant's tomb. She recorded for a grueling 6 minutes, her helmet cam capturing the silent horror, before the alien energies within fried its delicate circuits. The very last image it managed to transmit? An armory. Rows upon rows of rifles that looked less like weapons and more like intricate glass bones wrapped in the cold, distant starlight. It was a glimpse into a power we couldn't yet comprehend. When she got back, governments, predictably, fought like rabid dogs over custody of her helmet. Not for her safety, mind you, but for the data. But Elena fought harder. She wasn't some pawn in their political games. She kept the crucial data chip, a tiny piece of alien truth, tucked safely in her pocket. And then, with a steely gaze that silenced even the most boisterous delegates, she told the UN Security Council exactly what she wanted. Command. Command of whatever ship humanity could somehow stitch together from that alien corpse. They laughed. Oh, they really laughed. A condescending, dismissive chorus of disbelief, until she played it. The audio. The Krek's battle language, still repeating on a loop inside the wrecked bridge. A cold, clinical declaration of intent. Substrate species irrelevant. Exterminate at leisure. The laughter stopped. Dead. In that chilling silence, the true horror of their situation finally dawned. They gave her a budget, a vast, desolate hangar in the Mojave Desert, and a name that whispered of defiance and rebirth. Project Lazarus. The game had changed. Rebuilding something you don't understand is less like engineering and more like trying to perform brain surgery on a dreaming Leviathan. It's an act of blind faith, mixed with a whole lot of educated guesswork and sheer, bloody-minded persistence. Engineers cut open subsections, expecting wires and circuits, but instead found cabling that had grown, not been manufactured, crystalline nerves that pulsed with faint energy, sometimes even self-repairing when carefully prodded. Human welders, with their sparks and sweat, would fuse new plates onto a gaping hole, only to find the ship had grown the missing sleeve back overnight, a strange, organic regeneration that defied all known physics. 3 shifts of dedicated scientists and engineers practically lived inside the hull for 18 grueling months. They became symbiotic with the ship, learning its alien rhythms. They discovered its engines didn't burn fuel. They drank vacuum fluctuations, drawing power from the very fabric of space-time. Its shields didn't just deflect, they bent inertia, making incoming projectiles curve harmlessly away. But here was the kicker, the ultimate alien slap in the face. Every major system required biometric consent from a Krex captain. Captain long dead, mind you. So they improvised. They hot-wired. They spliced terrestrial fission reactors, crude but reliable, into alien power buses, a Frankensteinian marriage of technologies. They grafted fiber optics, our nervous system, through the ship's living conduits, hoping the organic material would accept the foreign implant. They bolted naval railguns, massive and brutally effective, onto hardpoints clearly meant for elegant, terrifying plasma lances. They called the entire messy, dangerous process technological organ transplantation. And just like a real transplant, sometimes the ship accepted the graft, humming to life with a newfound purpose. Other times, it violently rejected the organ, venting entire decks into the unforgiving vacuum of space, taking precious lives with it. Each failure wasn't just a setback. It was a tragedy, a stark reminder of the stakes. Elena, ever the leader, kept a wall of photos by the main airlock. Each face was a life lost, a sacrifice for humanity's future. Every time that wall grew, she didn't mourn for long. She doubled the work shifts, pushing everyone, including herself, to their absolute limits. Humanity, she knew, had precisely 2 years before the Krex returned to finish the job they'd started. 2 years to turn a derelict ghost into a living, breathing, vengeful predator. There was no other option. The ship was a puzzle box, and deep inside its data core, buried under layers of quantum encryption that made our best firewalls look like child's play, linguist Malik Jones found something far more terrifying than a weapon schematic. He found star charts. But these weren't just navigation logs. These were the grim, meticulously kept logbooks of the Krex Empire. Every world they had sterilized, every species they had uplifted only to then exterminate when they no longer served a purpose. And then the ultimate gut punch, the next scheduled stop on their galactic cleansing tour. Earth. Cycle 12,847. The entry was dated 300 years in our future, but as Malik grimly pointed out, relativistic calendars are slippery things when you're talking about interstellar travel. The bottom line? Humanity wasn't an accident. Some random species they'd stumbled upon. We were inventory. We were on the list. Elena played the files for the UN. The room, already tense, went colder than lunar night. The air crackled with a silent, collective dread. Overnight, Project Lazarus stopped being a desperate salvage job, a distant hope for survival. It became a factory for vengeance. Budgets, which had been tight and begrudging, tripled overnight. Every single nation with a launch-capable rocket, from the smallest developing country to the biggest superpowers, ferried parts and personnel. Japanese labs sent their revolutionary graphene armor weave, tougher than anything known. Russia shipped liquid metal coolant systems, vital for managing the alien power cores. Kenya, in a move of quiet solidarity, provided not just coffee, though that was crucial for the sleepless crews, but also some of the most advanced long-range comms arrays on the planet. No one quibbled. No one argued about intellectual property or national pride anymore. The photos on Elena's wall kept multiplying, a grim tally of sacrifice, but the work accelerated. The urgency was palpable, a thrumming current through every steel beam and alien conduit. Humanity had found its purpose, forged in the crucible of fear and righteous fury. We weren't just defending ourselves. We were fighting for every species the Krex had erased, and every future they intended to steal. Launch day. It smelled like ozone and burnt coffee, a potent cocktail of fear and anticipation. Inside the rebuilt bridge, a fascinating, almost jarring fusion of alien cathedral and human submarine command center, Elena pressed her palm to a hybrid console. Our familiar human LEDs blinked amber, a comforting, if small, sign of home. Alien glyphs flared crimson, pulsing with the ship's ancient, reawakened power. And for the first time, the two languages, the two technologies, agreed. Engines primed. A low thrum vibrated through the deck plates, growing into a deep, guttural growl. She named the ship Reckoning, because that's what you call a weapon that remembers every single name on a wall, every sacrifice, every insult. That's what you call a vessel born of a species pushed too far. When the thrusters finally lit, a column of pure, incandescent fury erupted beneath the ship. Mojave sand turned instantly to glass for a kilometer in every direction, an apocalyptic spectacle. Reckoning rose, impossibly, on that pillar of blue-white fire, Earth's gravity clawing one last, desperate time before letting go. Cameras tracked her ascent, a global audience holding its collective breath, until the drive signature blurred into a gravitational lens, a shimmering distortion against the black. The world watched, silent, hopeful, terrified. A single ship, a beacon of human defiance, now hurtling towards an unknown destiny, carrying the hopes and fears of an entire planet. No retreat, no surrender, only reckoning. They met her at Luton's Star, a place where Krek's doctrine explicitly stated no primitive species could possibly navigate, let alone survive. The arrogance of it was almost comical. The Krek's battle group was formidable. 6 sleek cruisers and a dreadnought, fresh from their shipyards, gleaming with smug superiority. Their commander, oblivious to the storm he was about to face, opened with the standard, condescending hail. Substrate species, surrender or be annihilated. Elena's reply wasn't a verbal one. It was a railgun slug the size of a bus, accelerated to a terrifying 0.3 c, traveling at nearly a third the speed of light. And here's the clever part. It was wrapped in alien shield harmonics, stolen and reverse-engineered from the very ship they now faced. It punched through the lead cruiser's bow like a bullet through tissue paper, a sickening, explosive rip. The Krek's formation, caught completely off guard, shattered into disarray, firing plasma lances in panicked, desperate volleys. But Reckoning's hybrid shields, a marvel of combined technologies, twisted those devastating lances aside, bending the very energy of their attacks. Human tech, they'd said, was crude, perhaps, but crude hits harder, faster, and with or brutal efficiency when alien math suddenly bends the impact vector in your favor. The fight lasted a brutal, exhilarating 43 minutes. Every system on Reckoning was pushed to its absolute limit, screaming warnings but holding. When the dreadnought, the crown jewel of their fleet, finally split open, its own reactors blooming into a silent, catastrophic white sun, Reckoning didn't just stand victorious. She broadcast, on every frequency, across every comm channel, the same Krek's phrase, twisted into an echo of their own demise. Substrate species irrelevant. Then, with a drive corona screaming a triumphant, blinding farewell, she jumped home. The message was sent, loud and clear. Earth's skies, usually so placid, lit up with an ethereal aurora as Reckoning settled back into her Mojave berth. She was home. The hull, once pristine, now bore new scars, a testament to the ferocity of the battle. Human steel patches gleamed alongside glowing Krek's alloy, a Frankenstein skin that told a story of survival and defiance. Elena walked the photo wall, her stylus heavy in her hand. One by one, she drew a single, resolute strike through every name, honoring their sacrifice, marking their mission accomplished. At the very bottom, in bold, stark letters, she added one more, Krek's Empire, delisted. Cameras broadcast the moment live, a silent, powerful global event. There were no speeches, no triumphant parades, no chest-thumping declarations of victory, just the quiet click of a pen. And then the soft, reverent tear of paper as she peeled the photos off the wall, gathered them into a solemn bundle, and set them alight in a metal tray. The ashes, wisps of memory and sacrifice, drifted upward in the hot desert wind, carried away to the stars they had helped conquer. Humanity had learned the first brutal rule of a hostile galaxy. Leave a human with broken tools and you don't just give them a new toy. You give them blueprints for your own extinction. It was a lesson hard one, paid for in blood and ingenuity. If stories like this, tales of turning the tables and kicking alien butt, hit that primal itch for payback, then you know what to do. Bash the like button so hard the algorithm feels it. Drop a comment below telling us what you'd name your own warship, because let's be real, you've thought about it. And definitely subscribe for more epic tales where humanity stubbornly refuses to stay the underdog. We've got plenty more where that came from. The Krex thought scrap was safer in our orbit than in their shipyards. They forgot that monkeys are curious. Monkeys are stubborn. And monkeys are really, really good at hitting things with rocks. Especially when those rocks are rail-accelerated, wrapped in stolen starlight and powered by a planet-sized grudge. Next time an empire writes us off, dismisses us as irrelevant, maybe they'll remember reckoning. Maybe they'll choose a quieter star to conquer. One far, far away from a species that just won't quit. Until then, Earth keeps its tools sharp and its memory even longer. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, is more dangerous than a species that learns fast, holds a grudge, and already knows exactly where you live. Consider that a universal warning.